I figured I'd talk about the new trademark that was filed for Sword Online called Echoes of Aincrad. Now, if you don't know the news, which I have just come to know myself, to be honest, an hour or so ago, a new trademark has been filed by Kadokawa for something called Echoes of Aincrad, obviously relating to Sword Art Online. Now, the thing is, this was, of course, picked up by one of the usual clickbait accounts, let's say, and was portrayed as potentially the next anime project, which kind of sort of gained some traction. Just like when they shared 2 weeks ago that the upcoming Sword Art Online anime movie was now in production, using the announcement that we received over 2 years ago. Obviously, clickbait accounts, please do not support them. They are just leeching off of you. But coming back to our topic, the new trademark Echoes of Aincrad. Now, I already have a very simple Twitter thread for this. There's actually not much to talk about. Just a trademark filing. But the way these things go is that they usually come with the trademark filed, and under it you see like a whole bunch of tags that should give people the idea as to what the trademark is about. But the usual process with these, uh, let's say, what we know of the SAO trademarks from before, let's put it that way, because I don't have a lot of experience with other unrelated stuff. The way it goes is there's usually a huge 200 tag spam underneath that you basically have no idea what it is actually about. There are a bunch of production related tags, there are video game related tags, there are pachinko related tags, there are smartphone accessory related tags, there are cooking tags, there are furniture tags, there are merchandising tags, pretty much everything, standard procedure that always happens with the Sword Art Online trademark filings. Now, what I think this is, very simple. I don't think it is anything about any of the anime projects. Some people who were just riled up by this clickbait account said, "Hey, that sounds like a good name for an Aincrad side story compilation mini season of sorts." I'll just shut it down right there because the reality is we don't have enough side stories that take place in Aincrad to even feel a mini 10 to 12 episode season, at least considering most of them were already adapted back in season 1. On the top of my mind, we probably have the first day that can last a full episode, the next day that can last like a little bit more than half an episode. That would be a stretch for a full episode. The seventh day could be a side story that's included. I don't know its length because it's not fully translated. Certoid and another person is currently translating it as far as I'm aware. We have Hopeful Chant that can be included in such a thing. But on the top of my mind, that's basically the end of it. The day before is one of them, Kirtan Asana's marriage. But you don't even get to that 12 episode mark. So I don't think, first off, I don't think it's anything anime related, anyways. But secondly, I don't think the idea of a side story season is not realistic either. It can be an entirely different project that is about Aincrad, but maybe taken in the future or something. But that's exactly the plot of Ordinal Scale. First off, that's redundant. And secondly, that is extremely random before United Ring and before you're already gonna have an anime original movie anyways. Why would you do that? Now, moving on from that, the second idea I had, I say second idea because the first idea was implanted by these clickbait people. Otherwise, I wouldn't even consider it. The second idea that came to my mind is, hey, that smart pachinko people, they were doing some great stuff with SAO things. And at a point, I even remember, we were joking quite honestly how they are selling an Aincrad anime via pachinko much better than an actual anime production that would be airing on the TV at the time. Those were fun times, but jokes, of course. But the SAO Smart Pachinko stuff, they were adapting quite a lot of fun cuts with their own flavor of things that have happened or teased to have happened back in Aincrad. They had a beach scene, they had a marriage scene, they had a lot of unsuitable stuff. But this was basically a project, as if I recall correctly, that was kind of sort of outsourced to Chinese animators and were exclusively used for those pachinko machines, just to give them those scenes. So that wasn't really an anime project or anything. And again, we have like a dozen, 2 dozen tag spams about pachinko machines as well. They don't mean anything, as I said at the very beginning. That still fits in with the idea. It could be, but I also asked a friend or two, and they said the previous drops for the Smart Pachinko, they did not have such trademark filings anyway, so that kind of sort of rules that out as well. The third idea that came to my mind as I was writing the thread I did on Twitter about this is that, wait a second, this is the exact same thing that happened 4 years ago. So yeah, I looked back at my video library when I first covered this 4 years ago, and lo and behold, it was indeed exactly the same. Sword Online Variant Showdown, the trademark for that game, Sword Online Variant Showdown, was filed back in February of 2021. We immediately saw this, and well, I reported on it. New SAO mobile game, because if you look at the tags, you know, they don't mean much, but you can sift through certain stuff if you know certain things. And I said, hey, new SAO game. I think I specifically said, hey, this is probably a new what you call it, mobile game. I feel like I did indeed specify that much. That's gonna be coming sometime in the future. And later, I believe in 2022, Variant Showdown was finally officially announced, if I remember correctly, in Anime Japan. And we got Variant Showdown when? In 2023? End of 2022, maybe? Around those times. Of course, this is way before the maintenance period that came to be afterwards. And if you look at the filing for Variant Showdown, you can still find it. Just Google Variant Showdown trademark, and the news about it will come up. The trademark registry will come up. It is exactly the same. It was filed by Kadokawa. It more or less uses the exact same tags. It is pretty much the exact same thing. And then, moving from that, hey, this can be the exact same thing. This Echoes of Aincrad could be the next SAO game. The next SAO mobile game. Console games, completely different. Not gonna touch on that situation. But this could be the next SAO mobile game, Sword Online Echoes of Aincrad. But then, you need to run a bit more checks. What is the most common thing about Sword Online mobile games? Well, they are roughly on a 3 to 4, I'll just generally say a 3-year development cycle. So when memory defrag was happening, around the 2 or 3 year mark of memory defrag, I can't recall specifically regarding memory defrag because it has a completely different release date for Japan and the global release. But roughly around its second, third anniversary, we received Integral Factor, and around those times, a Japanese exclusive mobile game, I think a little bit earlier, got discontinued. So if you look at the trends about the SAO mobile games, is that they roughly release 3 years from each other. And what happens is there usually is 2 concurrent SAO mobile games on the market. The third one, it usually gets eliminated. It takes a little bit of time if they are still considering which one to end of service, and they kind of track the interactions, the engagement, the users, the revenue, all those kinds of stuff, and eventually eliminate one of them. The same thing happened when Unleash Blading released around the third or fourth anniversary of Integral Factor, and all 3 games ran concurrently for a short bit. And the reason why that happened was memory defrag was still actually quite successful at the time. uh, what was my original line of thought? But they looked at it, and Memory Defrag received its end of service with only Unleash Blading, Alicization Blading at the time, and Integral Factor staying on the market. What happened? In 2021, we received a trademark filing for Variant Showdown. In 2022, December, again, don't recall the date exactly, we had the Variant Showdown release, and we got Unleash Blading immediately eliminated because it was running below a certain threshold already. We didn't even get 3 concurrent games running at the same time with that. So now we receive echoes of Aincrad under the assumption that it is going to be the next SAO mobile game. Chances are we won't hear anything for, I don't want to say a full year, but for about a year, let's say. And Integral Factor and Variant Showdown will continue during this time. Eventually, Echoes of Aincrad is going to be officially announced, and around those times we'll probably get to a point where the race to survive for Integral Factor and Variant Showdown will begin. I can speak a little bit more specifically, but I honestly don't want to. I don't want to enter that ball at all, at least at this point in time. But that is pretty much my assumption as to what is happening with this trademark. Regarding the anime side, again, I spoke with a friend, and the trademarks regarding Aniplex when it comes to SAO, they are not listed publicly. So I got that confirmed already. So we can like double, triple rule out whether this is an anime project or not. They said, it can be the live action project that's been in purgatory for the past decade. Could be. I have nothing to confirm or deny that. In fact, nobody does. They didn't either. They just thought, hey, that would be a novel idea, and it could be. But yeah, I'd say that may remain in purgatory for a bit more. I wholeheartedly believe this is the next SAO mobile game, and that is pretty much everything I wanted to say. We're gonna wrap this up. Please, 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 if an account has a majority of their posts added with community notes, you probably shouldn't trust that account. That is the note I want to end on. There's a comment button here, and it says one. Did someone ask something? Oh, it's Grinch asking me whether that post is just clickbait. If you're referring to the original post I quoted in my thread, the explanation thread about the license, yes, it is extreme clickbait. I legitimately don't know how Twitter Spaces work. If no one has any questions, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say on the topic. I am not sure how you ask questions. I am not sure if there's a raise your hand mechanic. I am not sure whether you just ask through the comments underneath the space post, I guess. Do your thing. I'll stay here, maybe ramble for 5 minutes. If anyone asks anything, I'll try to answer. If no one asks anything, I will wrap up, and I do want to open my window again. I closed it so my mic doesn't pick up the noises outside, but it is getting extremely hot at this point in my room, and I really do want to open my window. And god damn it, of course, questions arrive. Let's see. I don't think you can ask questions unless you speak or comment here. Well, as long as you comment, that works as a way to ask questions. I'm asking you to have a good sleep, says Scrambled. It is not even 11 p.m., mate. I probably won't be asleep for another 5 hours. I have other stuff I want to do and complete before Friday. And would you look at that? Friday is tomorrow, so I don't have much time. So I actually do need to work on that. And I'm gonna specify, hey, I legitimately think this is a mobile game, not a console game. Fracture Daydream, they still have plans. I'm pretty sure they're gonna fill the year at the very least. And personally, I would expect an actual expansion once the yearly cycle ends, like a proper expansion for Fractured Daydream, not just character DLCs we're getting seasonally. So I think they want to at least try going as long as they supported Fatal Bullet, where we received a full scale the DLC chapters, but then suddenly we had a proper expansion for Fatal Bullet out of nowhere. They had other reasons to make that full scale expansion, but that's kind of besides the point. I still think Fatal Bullet is going to at least go until the end of its second year. Okay, I see more comments coming, but there is no convenient way of actually refreshing this page, is it, without accidentally shutting off the Spaces page? This is really a terrible implementation. This is the first and last space I am ever doing. Let's see. Let's see. If they do make a new mobile game, do you think they will terminate Integral Factor? That's a ball I do not want to enter. I wish both of the games the best. I actually want both of them to continue, and they are doing relatively decent. Integral Factor magnificently after how many years has it been? Over 7 by now, right? And probably closing to 8 for the Japanese release. I imagine that is incredible, mate. What Integral Factor is doing is absolutely incredible, and I really wanted to continue. As for Variant Showdown, it has been on an uphill climb. Like it's been trending up. I mean, it's not. I don't mean uphill climb in terms of difficulties. It's actually trending up. With its March update, and we didn't receive a big update in April just yet, so I don't want to judge it based on that. But I really do want to see more of Variant Showdown as well, especially with its story. Please, just release the damn main story. I know you don't want to exhaust it all of a sudden because it's fully voice acted now, and fully voice acting stuff is expensive and takes a lot of effort. So going through it fast is kind of sort of bad, but goddamn, we are receiving 3 minutes of dialogue in a single month, and that is just horrible. Give me more main story, Variant Showdown. Give me more story. I want to learn more about Cross Edge. I want to learn more about Lila. Your story rewrite has been great, but it needs to exist a little bit more. Please. And I have no idea what's happening with Integral Factor's story. I haven't played since September of 2024 because I just really lost interest in its Chapter 2 story. And it took me long enough to lose that interest. They really pushed my patience on that front, but I eventually lost interest and I didn't go back. Okay. What else? As someone who really loves Ordinal Scale, doing it again honestly would be kind of redundant if it's something regarding the movie, but that's if it has something to do with it, but we won't know until they announced it. Trust me, if it was an anime related thing, you would hear it from Aniplex first, not from a trademark filing. You wouldn't see the trademark filing. I double checked it. So is it 100% sure that it is not an anime? Asks Sinai. Uh, Only a Sith would deal in absolutes. I'll give you a cop-out answer. I personally am 100% certain that it is not an anime, but do not blame me for damping your excitement if it ends up being an anime. Let me put it that way. I am absolutely not expecting it to be an anime. We don't have a single reason to think it's anything to do with any anime, and all the signs that we know from the past indicates that you won't learn an anime from a trademark filing when it comes to SAO. Okay, let me refresh this without accidentally shutting off the space again to see if there's anything new. Honestly, spaces are so terrible. Like, oh my god. How badly can you implement a simple chat room? Jesus. I can't even sort them by new. They are just all randomly placed. I have to sweep through the things I already read. Ay, ay, ay. Try seeing the comments on your phone. That is bloody genius, mate. I love it. We'll do that. There aren't enough comments to go through anyways, but that is still a goddamn good idea. Let's see, how do I do that? Yeah, that is my space. Click on it. Wait. No. What's going on? I am connected. Don't automatically end it. No. It actually clashes with my instance on my PC. I can't do that. I hate you, Musk. I absolutely hate you. You could just go to the Twitter timeline and then click on the comment icon again to refresh the comment section. That is kind of sort of what I'm doing. I can't click on the comment icon of the space to refresh the page. I need to go switch a page while the space pop-up remains on the right side and then go back to the space page. I'm on the web client, if that makes a difference. Also, a DLC story expansion to Fractured Daydream would be tough, honestly. Oh, what do you mean tough? I don't think it's tough. Do you mean it in the sense that it would be good? Maybe, probably. I mean, I would love a more collective story experience compared to the DLC chapters we have. Oh, Fractured Daydream actually shared a survey for everyone to participate. So if you have opinions about it, it's a very simple survey, should be done within 5 to 10 minutes. It's just asking your opinion on the different modes of the game without much context. It's quite simple, but hey, you can share your opinions and you can actually have the dev team hear you. So it's very important. Go to the SAO Games Twitter account, or you can also find it on my timeline as well. I posted it. And participate in the survey. Don't get the wrong idea. It's not one of those emergency surveys like some games do when they are performing terribly. This is not one of those. This is, if you look at the survey, you'll understand. It's standard procedure. It's been 6 months since their launch survey, and since it's a live service, they're just pushing in another one, a simple survey. It's not a panic survey. It's literally something for you to share your opinions on. I want to clarify that because so many people can get riled up by the weirdest things. I really want to avoid those kinds of things. I'd rather inform people properly and not leave room to speculation like that. Isn't like when the November 7 arrived, there was merch announcement. Is this something like this? The trademark? No. It's completely different. This is not a merch announcement or something. As I covered previously, I wholeheartedly think this is the trademark for the next SAO mobile game, and we are going to be hearing something about it in about a year from now. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Variant Showdown, so that's what I'm basing my rough expectations for. If this doesn't have anything to do with possible new anime content, when do you predict that we'll get news on the movie? That is the tough question, isn't it? I can say a lot of things. I can also say things I probably shouldn't say. But generally speaking, let me put it this way, I personally do not expect to hear anything sometime within 2025. Like, given the circumstances, if you look at the industry situation, what A1 is busy with at the moment, where certain staff are, we probably won't hear anything about the Sword Online movie in 2025. We can still potentially hear something, maybe, perhaps, late this year, but do not hold your breath. That's just me giving you empty hope, so don't hold your breath for it. If we'll hear something about the upcoming movie, in my educated guess, let's put it that way, we'll hear it in 2026 at the earliest. And you shouldn't be surprised if you hear an announcement for another alternative project, by the way. They really use the alternative project. In this case, it's been GGO Alternative so far to fill in the blank. That's one of the things SAO brand as a brand actually does properly, something I respect, that they use the GGO Alternative very carefully to, keep the brand name SAO in somewhat of a mainstream site. And if the movie is taking too long, and currently, as things are showing, it is, you may end up hearing another alternative project, whether it's GGO or Clover's Regret or the, what was it, the cooking one, the one I like. Come on, the one by YA, the one that takes place in Aincrad, cooking. Gourmet Seekers, Gourmet Seekers, Gourmet Seekers. Could be Gourmet Seekers. We still haven't heard anything from Gambler's Honor. The alternative series, the third alternative series that they announced that it exists. It's been over what, 2 years? They announced it for Dengeki 30th celebrations alongside Gourmet Seekers and Mystery Labyrinth alternative series. And then nothing. It just disappeared, completely swept under the rug. I'm still waiting to hear about that. I have no idea what happened to it. I'm interested. But yeah, if the movie keeps taking too long, and currently it is, you can expect to hear more alternative series. In fact, I was genuinely expecting an immediate announcement on the final episode of HGO Season 2. For some reason, that didn't happen either. I was genuinely disappointed. But I legitimately expected a Season 3 for HGO at the end of HGO Season 2. What was even the initial question? Oh, my prediction about when we'll hear about the movie. I answered that. I'm great at answering questions. If it ends up being anime adapted, do you think that's some sign that the original movie might just get binned? It's a good question, but it's such a speculative question that I don't even have an educated guess. I don't know their internal calculations for, do they try saving face and forcing a movie because they announced it 2.5 years ago? I don't know. Personally speaking, if they have it announced, one way or another, I think it will happen. And then I remember Alternative Gambler's Honor. But that's a light novel. That's an entirely different topic. Like they announced the upcoming movie in quite the prominent, high-profile way. I don't think, no matter what happens, I don't think it will be binned. But yeah, I mean, there's generally speaking no reason for it to be binned either. If it's not, but if Echoes of Aincrad ends up being an anime adaptation, there's still a long time until United Ring can be turned into animation. So until that time, which is over 5 years, the answer doesn't change as long as we don't see an endpoint in United Ring. The movie will happen. There is like an infinite amount of time for them to actually produce a movie without having to can it. Moon Cradle anime. It exists. It is about 6 minutes long, consists of 3 different scenes throughout the entire Moon Cradle side story, and it is in a game where that you can no longer download because it's been canned. I genuinely don't think Moon Cradle will ever get an anime for the same reason that I sadly say that I don't think any of the beautiful side stories this series has will ever get animated. I like I would love to see the first day. I would love to see the next day. I know nothing about the seventh day, but I would love to see that. I hopeful chant, my most favorite side story in the entire series. Please make it an OVA. But it is not going to happen. It's from my perspective, with zero numbers about anime production in front of me, and just based on the community feeling and my general intuition of how they operate. I like to downsell my words, by the way. I do mean things a little bit more seriously than my intuition about how they run the business. It's just not a good business proposition for them. It's not high stakes. It doesn't have super exciting moments, like high stakes moments. Especially in the case of Moon Cradle, non Kirito protagonist, but in the other ones as well. Like they cut out Copper what 3 times from the entire series now and counting. It's not their priority. They don't care. They don't think it is a valuable story investment to make. As long as it is not main series related, like the main continuity related, it's a side story. It is not quite worth it. Sadly, because that goes against my wishes of seeing the first day or Hopeful Chant animated as well. Maybe they're playing 4D chess or something. Who knows? Who knows? What about progressive becoming a season? You mean like regular anime adaptation, not movie? I still think progressive movies are. I still think progressive movies are a much better prospect compared to TV anime. It's just. It makes so much more sense. One movie per floor. But again, one movie per floor means you are more or less committing to 8 movies. And let's be real, they are not going to make plans for 8 consecutive years. With a single movie roughly taking 2-3 years in production as well, like rolling over each other. So that is never going to happen that way. And yeah, as for a TV series in terms of progressive, I think it will eventually happen. And I think it makes a lot more sense than something like Echoes of Aincrad, whatever that would be. A much better prospect than a side story season that I wish would happen. But I still think it would also be better if the L4 campaign actually managed to end for them to actually start adapting it. How much volumes do you think left for the first part of United Ring? I don't know. Reki doesn't know. Miki doesn't know. God doesn't know. Nobody knows how long United Ring is going to be. Isn't like 4 or 5 floors? The movie skipped floor 2, floor 3, floor 4, and the movies also have a completely original story to them. Not completely original, they are still much closer than the original anime that we had to the source material, but their focus is their original story, the narrative thread between Mito and Asuna, rather than the light novel version of progressive. Is that all the questions? I believe that is all the questions. I will give you a final chance to ask questions while I ramble about progressive movies. I think the only mistake the progressive movies have done is to title themselves exactly the same way as the light novel stories themselves, Ari of a Starless Night and Scherzo of Deep Night. Because I think they are the best sword online content that we ever had in anime form. And in general, I think the movies fix a lot of stuff from the original stories themselves as well, here and there. But the fact that they titled Progressive Area of Starless Night and Progressive Scherzo of Deep Night, people just had the expectation of this is going to be a full on adaptation. But oh my god, it isn't. Time to go crazy. That is really sad because it prevents people from seeing the movies for what they truly are. It's really more of a story about Mito and Asuna, where the first act, like 90% of Area of a Starless Night, it's about Mito letting Asuna down. And then they kind of sort of make up at the end of the movie, but they never recover. So the second movie is about Asuna finding herself in Sketch of Deep Night and then making proper amends with Mito in return. That's a really nice two-movie narrative structure that they had. But yeah, when people are screeching over, hey, this is not a full adaptation. Why is it titled like a full adaptation? Then it kind of loses its thing. When are we gonna see United Ring this year? No, not at all. You won't see a United Ring anime for the next 5 years, mate. You won't see a United Ring anime for the next 5 years. And that answer has remained exactly the same for the past 5 years. As long as we don't see a reasonable goalpost in the light novels, the answer will continue to be at least 5 more years. That is how we roll. Either way, that it. I would say that is. Oh, United Ring light novel, the next one. It was released quite recently, and we had the progressive like last month, and I think United Ring was the previous release, so it was the winter slot release. So probably until December of this year, we likely won't see a United Ring release because the progressive novel that was supposed to be floor 8. However, it's a part 1 and it didn't even step on floor 8. So chances are the next progressive volume 10, is likely going to be the next SAO light novel release as well, just to complete that story. That's what we had with the previous 2 floors as well. It was released as a part 1, and shortly after, as the next release, part 2 came. I expect the same to happen with the floor 8 story. So the next United Ring volume, at the earliest, I'd say December of this year, but realistically, potentially spring of next year instead, because I would imagine Reiki would want to sneak in another Axel Ward volume and at least one more Demon's Crest volume. Like, expect more focus on Demon's Crest for the short term future, in my opinion. Missed the SAO of 2019 when we had anime and the mobile games at the same time. That's the best way for the mobile games to function, or games or alternate media to function. Anyways, like when it comes to these things, you need to consider the SAO brand or any brand in general. We're just speaking about SAO specifically. You need to see it as a product mix. The anime does not exist to make money. The anime is an advertisement for the light novels, for the games, for the manga. But in return, light novel does not exist to make money, despite being the primary product, your source product. It is there to be an advertisement for the anime, manga, games, merchandise in return. Same thing with games. Games are supposed to advertise anime, light novels, manga, merchandise. So everything is in this perpetual relationship of advertising each other. That's why the brand is strongest, where you have an anime release that is getting a lot of traction. at the same time or around the same time, a light novel release around the same time, a proper game release, a good mobile game at the same time. When all those things happen, the brand naturally thrives. For the past 5 years or so, with the progressive movies, the entire series has been so fractured, so in disconnect with each other that it's like you have these five cogs in a clock, and sometimes none of the cogs are touching each other. Sometimes a single cog is touching three other cogs at the same time, and they're turning the opposite way, basically cannibalize. It's such a weird case study right now, the past couple of years, just watching what the Sword Online brand is doing. So weird. But yeah, if you push me through that rabbit hole, I'm just gonna keep ranting about how one license is on Kadokawa, one license is on Sony, one license is on Bandai Namco, and they do not particularly care for what the other is doing. And we're just gonna be here for another hour or so, and I don't want to do that. I'm tired. Anything else for me? For those who have tuned in later, if you want to hear about Echoes of Aincrad, that's basically the first 5 to 10 minutes of this space, I believe. I will keep this one saved, and you can, I think, roll back and hear all of those again. Or maybe I'll upload it to YouTube. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know how spaces work. I don't know what Twitter will allow me to do. We'll see. And if there are no more questions, I will wrap it up, open my window, breathe a bit. Is Demon's Crest even good? I have no idea. I didn't read it. I didn't even start reading it. All I can tell you is it is not in the same universe as SAO. Like Axel World could be the future of SAO. It is completely separate. All right. That Dimitrios waving, and I feel like I should wave as well. Thank you much for joining. I hope this was valuable to you one way or another. At the very least, the first 10 minutes. Afterwards, we just went into rambling mode with your questions and all those kind of stuff. But yeah, take care. Bye bye. Now, how do I end this? Probably the large red end button on the top right.